Welcome to PQRST Problem 3. The problem is as follows. Okay, so we're first going to do the area portion first because that is a lot easier than the other portion. And so we kind of sketch the cosine graph and we realized that over pi, the magnitudes are basically the same. And so if we try to kind of sketch the polar curve in the polar axis, it is going to be symmetrical over the x-axis. Yeah, like that. So half of the area is basically over y equals 0, so we basically want the area from 0 to pi, which makes the rest of the calculations fairly easy. 1/2 r squared d theta, and we just basically expand. We use FOIL and we just expand the terms inside, and that is it. This part is very simple. You just multiply 1/2, and yeah, the format for the answer is basically there for you. It's basically you just look and match the terms and the coefficients. Yes, those are the ones needed. And also note that a and b and j are basically unnecessary terms. It's just designed to trick you and make your life a lot more complicated. You don't need to solve for a, b, or j to get the question right. Let's go turn this into a rectangular form. You multiply r to both sides and then you do the conversion. The conversion is as follows. So we're going to do an implicit differentiation of this entire equation, and you multiply y prime every time you differentiate anything with a y on it. And so this is just the process of implicit differentiation. And then you just move the terms around and you basically isolate the y prime term, and then you just divide to find the y prime term, and it already looks extremely complicated, the calculations. I'm just going to wait for my hand to finish. In the meantime, please, if you like the content, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and give a like if possible. I did spend a lot of time making the problems because making calculus problems are very hard to make it solvable. Okay, so you basically solve for y prime like this, and the goal is to find the derivative when x is 0. So we're going to do y prime of 0, and we're just going to eliminate all x because x becomes 0, and yeah, and that's the y prime equation, y prime of 0, but we don't know the y value, so we need to go to the original equation to plug back in x equals 0 and then solve for y. That's just wrapping up the calculation for y prime 0. Okay, and now we're going to solve for the actual y value when x equals 0 so that we can plug it back into the y prime of 0. Okay, so we rewrite the original equation in rectangular form, of course, and then we realize that y squared equals 2y times absolute value of y, and then we get positive 2e because we know that from the question the y coordinate is going to be greater than 0, and so we just plug back in 2e into y prime of 0, and then we can just simplify it and get pi over 2e as our slope value. Another approach, the second method to solve for this slope, is by doing x equals r cosine theta and y equals r sine theta, and just plugging in the derivatives, just solving the derivatives directly. Dy over dx is dy over d theta over dx over d theta, and so we just write out the derivatives directly and we solve. But getting the theta value for this is going to be particularly difficult because, well, we're giving the information that the point is 0, 2e, but we don't specifically know what value of theta is, and so it's going to be much harder. This method is going to be much harder, but it's going to produce the same result as the first method. So we gather all the constants we need to get for the sum, and because it's really hard to simplify this, we're just going to leave it as it is. That is going to be our answer. The numerical value is going to be equivalent anyways, no matter how we try to simplify it. An alternative approach, a third possible method, is we do the same thing for dy over dx, but we use the fact that we get d over d theta of r sine theta over r cosine theta. So we write out using the variables first, r cosine theta plus r prime sine theta, something like that, but we simplify it and we get this exact same method. So yeah, that is the possible third approach of thinking about this. I hope you liked how I made the problem and how I solved it. Please remember to like and subscribe if you thought this was informative, and I'll see you in the final question of the PQRST series. Thank you.